join me for this peer-led group session on resilience live in the Facebook Community Leadership group page. So I've been reading a book. I bought it at the Aspen Idea Festival. I was really inspired by so many of the great books in which we've all been reading and sharing with you in the group. And this book is called Resilience, the Science of Mastering Life's Greatest Challenges. And as I've been reading it, I've learned that they have 10 different qualifications or points of resilience. And through our time together, I'm going to share those with you, as well as focus on one particular, and that is having a positive attitude, in a reasonable positive attitude. And that's what I want to discuss today with you when it is about resilience. And I'm going to do that by illustrating live as I talk. So we're going to start by drawing some rain, right? Because sometimes we can get a stormed on us, right? That splashes us in the face. And other times we can have a lovely drizzle. And there's lots of different rain. And none of them are bad and none of them are good. I mean, none of them are only bad. They're good and bad, right? Or there's ways to make positive come together, right? So too much rain, you can get soaked, or your fields can get wonderfully watered. It's just the way that you have a perspective and what you will see as a result. So let's add this rain here to our canvas. This is a virtual reality, a mixed reality live presentation about resilience. Hello, Janet. Nice to see you. I'm talking today and drawing about resilience in our peer-led group today. And there's probably been a time when you've had to really lean into your resilience. You've been a role model to me in the way that you've helped families that are homeless, who are in the military, build more resilience around community, the way you've brought community together to support and break the isolation. That's something that I've admired about you, Janet, and your work, and have seen a great resilience. So I'm adding a rainbow as I'm thinking about how good fortune can come your way. Aw, Janet says that that's so sweet. Thank you. Well, I see your work, and all of you together are in this group, and we're able to share our stories, our ups and our downs, and it helps us build our resilience with each other as individuals and as a community. I'm going to share this rainbow, share with friends, and save it. As well as I'm going to share this rain cloud. These are some challenges, right, that I've seen you be resilient towards. I'm saving and sharing with friends, right? Because Facebook allows us to share with friends. It's the greatest platform for that. I'm going to continue to draw and talk more about resilience. There's been times in my career, in fact, even just today, in which I've been thinking about resilience and how I can be a stronger, more elastic person. Hi, Jerry Ann. Jerry Ann's with us too, and she's another important person working to support military families. And I've seen Jerry Ann be very resilient this year as well. If you feel like sharing any of your stories of resilience in the comments, I invite you to do that. But I'd like to share a story that I've noticed about you being resilient that has helped me be a more resilient person. And that is, I've noticed your ability to just, whatever you're going through, share it with your community. And you have helped me be able to be more vulnerable and sharing my truth in my community without it being scripted, without it being like really planned out, but really from the heart. So that's something in which Jerry Ann has shared her strength and story of resilience. I've seen you face adversity with group dynamics, in your groups to all kinds of different ways, and you have been part of, well, what has strengthened us, right? So you fought back some of the typical clouds and added so much more to the depth of our vision. Thank you, Jerry Ann. Thanks for being an important part of what builds resilience, and that is group connection, right? Better World Museum focuses on using creative technology in which to dispel isolation and feelings, overwhelming feelings of powerlessness, right? In turn, that makes people feel more resilient and stronger individuals and communities. So that is part of the discussion in which makes VR Garden have impacts in which include things like empowering communities to uniting communities. Such a powerful mission. These missions have become strengthened because of, through the process of discomfort and vulnerability and taking risks and having resilience. So I'd like to share the 10 measures of resilience in which are suggested by this book that I'm reading called Resilience, the Science of Facing Your Life's Largest, Greatest Challenges. So all of this is live. None of this is scripted or written down beforehand. You'll have to excuse me if I'm pausing while I'm thinking. I don't want to say the title of the book, or even misread the 10 on the list. But I'm going to give them to you now, and I'm going to grab them, and then I'm going to read them to you. So one moment while I grab the list. Okay. I'm actually reading this off of my laptop right now, where I have my Google Slides. So, 10 Factors of Resilience. And this is what the book called Resilience, the Science of Mastering Life's Greatest Challenges. And this book, actually, I bought it in Aspen, but then I lost it. I left it right on the bus, and I was really bummed out. And the first act of resilience involved leaning into the community, and I made a post on Facebook saying, I bought a book and I lost it. And one of our group members, Christine, actually sent me the book, the copy that I'm reading now. So I'm really honored and delighted to share the 10 factors of resilience with you. One is realistic optimism, in which I'm discussing a lot about today. Facing fear, moral compass, religion and spirituality, social support, having resilient role models, physical fitness, brain fitness, cognitive and emotional flexibility, meaning and purpose. These are the 10 factors of resilience, and in time I'd like to unpack them all with you, but today I'm only focusing on realistic optimism together with you.
Hey!
Jerry-Ann! Hello!
I'm unpacking.
This is awesome! Yay!
This is super cool.
Yes, tell me a story about what helped you feel more resilient.
I think a big part of feeling resilient for me, or like acting in resilience for me, is having the confidence that I can handle whatever's thrown my way. And I think that's probably that optimism piece, realistic optimism, that things may not necessarily go the way that we expect them to, but that we have all of the tools that we need to deal with whatever comes next. Or we have a whole team of people, a whole community that is willing to support us. Like Christine sent you that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so there's a perfect example of that. Like,
exactly.
Other people help us be resilient when we can't fix the situation firsthand.
Yes.
So that's what I would say.
Yes.
I feel like, honestly, Paige, I know you probably feel the same way. Like, I feel like this year has just been an exercise in developing resiliency. Like, you have to be resilient to do a program like this.
You do have to be resilient. I know a lot of people around us have come to our group in which to find support in times that they've needed resilience. And I think that a lot of us have had such a wonderful opportunity to be able to share the highs and lows with each other and not be alone in the field. So
yeah, I think every time somebody has said, and I think this really speaks to community too, right? Like, whatever you put out there, someone in your community is trusting themselves enough and trusting the group to be vulnerable, then it's our responsibility as members of that group to acknowledge their statement, even if we can't fix it, and to empower them and encourage them, literally speak courage into them.
Yes.
To take the next step. This is my sister making noise. I'm going to step into the bathroom. Yeah, so that's what I think. And I think that this group has been extraordinary. But, I was in your Better World Museum group, remember, when we were learning how to do, was it lives? I feel like that's what we were doing together.
Yes, yes. You were helping me learn how to screen share. In fact, today I jumped into doing this because at the last minute, I was like, how do I screen share through Google? They want me to use Google? Now I know how to do it through Zoom. But I was like,
wow.
I wasn't sure where I was supposed to do the peer-led sessions in the group or in here. I just was like, you know what? I'm future forward. I'm using Facebook Spaces. So
cool.
Yeah. Well, you're a cool part of it.
A little avatar like you.
I drew a sunshine around you because you have helped be a ray of light and energy and support. And while you have had some challenging times, right?
Yeah, well, thank you for that. That means a lot
Th-
for you to say that.
Thank you. Thank you. This is neat about how resilience teaches us how to deal with outside stressors in which we can't control, right? And we can change our perspective, or how we'll see it will help determine, and language has so much to do with that.
Yeah.
Like how we use our language in our brains and in our voices. Right?
Yeah, and I think especially in our brains, like I think, like, my sister's here, she's traveling with me this trip, and I think that the way that we talk to each other and to ourselves has a big impact on how capable we feel. But I have to go.
We're talking about leading from our heart center in being resilient, using brain science to be able to adapt to stress, whether it's climate change or a disaster, being able to quickly work together with people who are different than you is really important, in which people are able to right away, especially in groups and areas in the world in which people see people as other, be able to quickly work together to be able to survive a weather catastrophe or an uprising or something within their community in which it's important to work together immediately, right? Being resilient has important uses, not just as a Facebook community leader, but in the world and whenever we face stressful situations. And I think that it's really important. There's times in which even Logan once said to me that don't stress about that, you're too good for that. And it helped me take a moment and reframe that whatever the situation was, it didn't mitigate the stress that I was emoting. And it helped me become a more resilient person. Now we're going to call into Tanya now. If I ask you a little bit about how during this year you have, if you wanted to share a story with me about resilience in your group or in your life.
Yeah.
And while you do, I'd love to draw a picture while you're drawing. While you're talking, I will draw.
Oh, absolutely, definitely. So I think that's the thing I really tuned in when you were talking. The word resilience really bounced back at me, because this last year, this whole journey with Facebook and kind of growing our community has been a huge, what I feel like a tornado or a mountain of resilience, because you had all these massive big emotions that came, sort of excitement and the disbelief of being awarded this amazing award, and then going and meeting all of you amazing, hugely passionate, beautiful individuals, and kind of feeling really overwhelmed with that. And kind of the feeling of like, oh my gosh, where is this going? What's happening? And then coming back and sharing that with the community and starting the project and wondering if I'm good enough and if I can do this, if this is me. Really kind of going through all those massive emotions. The loss of kind of feeling whether what we're doing is enough to help the people that we need to help and the reasons that we're doing it. The stress about whether we're doing it in the right way. So the whole year has been one massive resilience exercise. And I've spoken for years and years as a therapist about self-care and really loving yourself and having a self-love club and people around you that support you. And when it comes to myself, I'm probably not so great at kind of walking my talk all the time. So this year has been a massive lesson in me having to really, really open up and to understand that it's not just about me talking to people and saying how amazing it is for you, but I have to walk that. I have to really believe in that and be kind of showing that myself. So I've had moments of burnout, I've had moments of massive excitement, moments of total overwhelm and feeling like I'm drowning. And my resilience factor has been in being able to look at the people around me and being able to see, actually, well, hang on, I'm putting them on pedestals, all of you guys, putting you on pedestals and thinking, well, if I'm putting you on a pedestal, why can't I do that for myself? So what is the difference in how I see myself to how I see all of you amazing people? So that was my change, and really starting to understand, actually, it's just the way I think. It's my neural pathways, it's the way I've been brought up, it's my whole history in this lifetime. That means that I kind of put other people on pedestals before I'm willing to put myself there. And that's been my biggest resilience journey this year. It's being able to look at myself the same way I look at other people. It's been a huge change.
Tanya,
Yes.
your words about how when one needs to transition from like sharing the advice to living the advice is so pertinent, as far as like being a community leader and a caretaker, somebody who works from the heart and from the love spot, right? That sometimes it's a lot about the output, and sometimes we don't always walk our walk, right? So part of being an effective, resilient leader is walking our talk. It's really, really important. The drawing that I drew was a bit of that stormy feeling of the tornado, right? Of the feeling being swept away. You talked about having a tornado and a bit of like turbulence, right? And sometimes that turbulence reminds us to look in, right? And to let ourselves go, let ourselves into the process of self-care, resilience, and that it's a cycle, right? It doesn't have to be a cyclone when we're in a health cycle, right? It can be the exact thing that creates sustainability, right? That we need a little bit of rain and a little bit of wind and a little bit of clouds, right? But when it becomes unstable, it becomes a storm and a tornado and a giant thunder burst, right? So keeping that like balance in ourselves is so integral in being resilient. We have Rachel. Rachel is joining us as well. Hello, Rachel. Nice to see you.
Hi.
We're able to see your comments live in 3D, like this one from Jerry. And I'm speaking right now with Tanya Sharp, who has joined us today in Facebook Spaces through the live video audio feed. And we're talking about Tanya's sharing some experiences of resilience with us while I live draw. And I'm going to share this drawing, which is now a 3D work created live in conversation with Tanya, as a Facebook post in the group. So please watch for that. You're able to see it and rotate it in 3D on your mobile phone. It's pretty darn cute. So there I'm sharing with friends, and I'm saving. I'm even able to duplicate it. So let's see how that goes. So here. Here, it's duplicating. So the power of letting a storm get out of control, or being able to clear it, right? Being able to clear our storms. Well, that one I don't really want to clear. I just want to set into perspective, right? Yes. Yeah. sometimes our storms help us, like the brilliance comes back out, right? That like the ray of sunshine comes, or the double rainbows. Tanya, I was wondering if I can draw another thing again while you talk about how having realistic optimism helped create a positive outcome for you.
Ooh, that's a nice biggie. That's a juicy one. So I think realistic optimism. So when we go to an event such as like a massive Facebook meetup, we're all massively powered on enthusiasm. We're all in there, the energy from everyone is flowing, and you just leave on such a high. And you're seriously really, really optimistic about how things are going to go forward. To an event such as like a massive Facebook meetup, we're all massively powered on enthusiasm. We're all in there, the energy from everyone is flowing, and you just leave on such a high. And you're seriously really, really optimistic about how things are going to go forward. And then you come back to your own daily life that you had before you went to this amazing big event. You come back to your life, you come back to your daily family needs, come back to your business needs, to your financial needs, to your own health needs, or emotional needs, all these different things that are going on. You get back into your role as a mum, as a wife, as a husband, as a father, as a brother, as a son, as a daughter, uncle, all these different things. And all of a sudden, you don't have that huge amount of people around you who are there for the same reason, with this huge kind of amazing, just awesome energy. And you have to do it alone. And the change in that is so crazy and so big, because you go from this amazing big place to having to kind of do it on your own. So that realistic optimism for me is about kind of not so much having a plan, but about being able to say, well, that was just a really beautiful experience, and I'm going to turn that into something that I'm going to be able to remember forever and cherish forever. I'm going to take like a beautiful snapshot of that in my head. I'm going to keep that. I'm going to bottle that emotion, and I'm going to see if I can recreate that in different ways. And the ways that I recreated that was connecting with FCL people outside of the events. So people like Suzanne, Mel, Dave, people that I've made really close relationships with. So Maureen, just amazing people. Jerry-Ann, who I met in the last time, Darren, Matt, who I absolutely love, yourself, you're so inspirational and creative, just Gabriel, so many cool people. And I've been able to check in with these people all the time. So my optimism, which is realistic, comes from being able to check in, have healthy, open conversations with people who are like-minded, and also people who will be willing to be honest with me. Suzanne's that person for me, really. She's really honest. She'll tell me when she feels like I need to take a break or step back, but she's also there when I need a kind of pick-me-up and a boost, when I need to look at a plan going forward and I need some support and back me up. She's there, right there on the phone, and I'm able to go to that. So my realistic optimism came from being able to know that I don't have to look for those amazing, big, huge event moments in every day of my life. I could just actually enjoy those moments and come back and then make a plan for connecting with people when I need another kind of little boost, a little happy chemicals pick me up. So I think that's so important, that we don't feel like we have to have those experiences every day and be on this high all day, every day, because that can be draining and quite exhausting too.
Yeah. So the idea of like being on like this big event high and then going back into your own world again, right? That could be like our like a safety bubble even, right? That like, here I'm feeling really good. I have all these happy chemicals coming out. How then right, can that persist in regular times, right? Whether that's your big event at Facebook, FCLP, or if it's speaking on stage, or like even like your group's fundraiser just happened, right? How then to keep the momentum going, to wake up each day and have this like renewed refreshness, right? In which brings that glory, that glory found in the sun, right? That which is warming and shining you and like giving you like this core sensation, to like wearing that sunshine hat every day, right? Like no matter what's happening, being able to be like, all right, I'm glowing. I have this community, this like whole wide world around me in which is giving me love. Sometimes I call this a circle of protection, or like before my son leaves for the day, if when he goes somewhere, I imagine sometimes a circle of protection or a love around him, right? In which we have in this example as our Facebook community leadership group, right? That we're able to like, oh, it's not such a good day. Somebody like took screenshots of my posts and now my admins are doing this or that, and like nobody can see any of my posts anymore and my numbers just dropped, right? And then like you can be like, oh, you could write that in our Facebook group page and be like, okay, I have a team, a whole squad around me who, you know, has similar issues or something going on. And that is repeated throughout Facebook, whether it's like parents dealing with children with cancer, or LGBTQ visibility, or mommies and daddies groups and military groups, right? Where something happens and they need to keep the positivity afloat, right? And not exaggerate it and not underplay it, but like keep on keeping on. It's important, right? To have this elasticity, tenacity, agility to like believe and know that you're supported. So something I wonder is resilience and like isolation, where the correlation is like if one is feeling unhappy, when they isolate themselves, right? And when people feel supported, they and in community, they're more resilient. I'm sure there's like a really important link to that and how social media, connecting, being part of a group, being part of a higher, larger purpose is one of the 10 points of you know, resiliency. I'm gonna.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I sure have been enjoying listening and drawing while you're talking. You have really honored me by spending some time together with me, Tanya. I hope that we can talk more like this in the future. And if you're leading a peer-led group training, I would love to be there to support you as well. So I appreciate that you were together with me on this call and part of the discussion of resiliency today.
Lovely. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this. I love what you do. You're so inspirational. I hope people tell you that all the time. Genuinely.
Well, thank you so much. My family and my friends and this wonderful group and the community in which I've built the museum support me really beautifully. You know, we each sometimes can have a naysayer that pops up, but I always feel as though that gives me extra energy to work extra hard to support exactly the missions and the goals in which we're doing. So thank you for being part of that beautiful support network, Tanya.
No problem. My absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. Mwah.
Bye. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. That was such an honor and a pleasurable opportunity to do that today, to talk about resiliency with with our group members. Today we've had Jerry Ann, we've had Tanya, we've had messages in from Janet, and we've had Jamie watching. We still have Tanya watching us now. I'm going to finish it off with some final drawing thoughts about making a better world and how important it is to me that we work together in lots of different ways. Let's see if I can make this a little bigger. Yeah, I can. Let's see. Well, you can see a mess of messages. That's okay. We're going to just work around it. I'm just going to draw around it right now. So we're making Better World Museum. We've been working with Dahlberg to talk and define really what it is that Better World Museum is doing. And Better World Museum is, I've always said that we're empowering communities with creative technology, but that's one output of what we're doing. In what the core is actually that we're using creative technology to dispel isolation and the feelings of overwhelming powerlessness. And the way that we do this is through interactive, participatory art and creative technology. And the VR Garden is part of that. Drawing together is part of this. Having a museum in which helps people connect around the world, all over the world, is just part of that, an outcome of this mission. And it really, in dispelling isolation and feelings of overwhelming powerlessness, what we're really doing is creating more resilient people as individuals and communities. And then these individuals and communities are able to make great decisions about solving climate change, about working together, about growing green gardens, about doing all kinds of things in the world in which empower people who don't have a voice that is already in power, including our planet Earth. So we really need to work together and love each other and love the world. Getting lots of loves and likes right now. Thank you. And that's what it's about, right? That loving each other and being there as a community is part of the integral balance of the resilience in which we need to make a better day. Thank you for joining me for Better World Museum's very first discussion that was inclusive and participatory in the moment and really, really fun to do. And it's this peer-led experience with Facebook Spaces, Facebook Community Leadership Program, Better World Museum pop-up. This is Paige Dansinger coming to you and thanking you live. Have a great day, and I'd love to hear examples of how you used resilience this year in the comments. Thank you very much.